everyone! So in this video I was going to go over how I make my meat purees. I have a lot of friends who have been asking me how I make my meat purees because I don't just do it the standard way by steaming meat, really boring, and giving it to my baby. I actually prepare it in a stew. And everybody I've told this recipe to is really interested and has been really excited to try it. And then also in the various mom groups that I'm in on social media, I've shared my various recipes and people are pretty excited about it. So I wanted to show you guys how I do it and give you a quick breakdown of exactly how I prepare it and what goes into it, and then the various meats that I use. That way you guys can do it too. So as I know I've showed you in previous videos, in the end, when everything's said and done, I end up with these cubes of the various purees that I make. And this particular kind is beef, and see, they're just little cubes just like this. They're roughly about an ounce, give or take a few spoonfuls, but for the most part pretty much an ounce. And they are in these handy dandy trays that I just pour the liquid in when I'm all done and freeze them, and there's my bags. So for this puree, what I do is I basically do very many different kinds of meat. I've done pork tenderloin, I'm about to do lamb, I've done beef, I've done chicken, I've done pork, I've even done fish, and then I've also done various beans with this particular recipe. So as I've stated in my previous videos, I buy everything 100% organic, so even the meat is all organic, cage-free, etc., etc. So as far as the veggies are concerned, I pretty much do a mix of celery, carrots, two different kinds of zucchini, so I'll do yellow squash and regular zucchini. I do a little bit of onion, and I'll usually add a tomato or two. That just kind of helps to flavor the water because I don't put any salt. So, you know, you just want to give a little bit of flavoring to the meat. Now, the ironic part is I'm a vegetarian, so I never get to taste this, but I've had my mom and my husband try them and they say that it's delicious, so I guess it's working. So anyway, so I add all my different veggies, put them all in a big pot, and then depending on the meat that I'm cooking, I'll add some spices. Now, I started introducing my baby to spices when he was about 8 months. I wouldn't recommend doing it when babies are younger just because you want them to, in my opinion, develop the palate of the food raw as it is. And then as they get older, you can start adding the spices. And again, depending on the meat, it changes the spice that you want to do. I find that rosemary goes good with pretty much anything. So I'll add a little bit of rosemary, or you know, sometimes I'll do some sage. It just depends on what the meat is that I'm cooking and what I know of recipes. Again, I don't eat it, so I can't really say, but you know, I just go based off of experience cooking for my husband and friends. So I just literally put all of the chopped veggies into the water, and then I'll add the spices. I don't add any oils or butter because the meat obviously secretes its own oils, natural oils. And then I just let it cook for hours and hours and hours, as long as, you know, it gets nice and soft. And then I separate everything and puree that. But I will show you that step by step in this video. So I'm gonna get everything prepared, this first phase, and then I'll add that second part in the video. But yeah, so I'm just gonna get everything chopped up, get everything put in my pot, and then I will continue the video from there. Okay, so all the veggies are chopped, everything is cooking, I've added my spices, and it's going. So one thing really quick I wanted to show you guys, a trick actually. So I do end up using pretty much everything. So what I do when the meat is done cooking and I blend it and I make my puree, I separate the veggies, all the veggies together, and I blend all of them together. And so by doing that, I end up with an actual cube of veggie puree. And I usually mix that veggie, and I have bags of those because every time I make meat, I end up with, you know, a bunch of veggies left over that I just blend together into my veggie purees. Now, what I do with these veggie purees is sometimes I give it to him, you know, just by themselves with a little bit of couscous, or I'll mix them in with the various meats. This way, you know, nothing goes to waste. And if you're ever at a loss to what to give your baby, you just give them one of these veggie cubes and you've got all the veggies covered in it. The other thing I wanted to tell you is as far as ground meat, so sometimes when I do turkey, I can't always find like turkey thighs or turkey breasts. Sometimes I just only find ground turkey. So you're probably asking yourself, oh, if you put ground meat in the water, it's gonna all break apart and it's gonna be impossible to separate it. well, what I do is I make little meatballs out of it. So I'll just kind of, make little meatballs out of the ground meat, and then I put that in the stew and let that cook. And I try, when I start, I try not to stir too vigorously so they don't break apart. And that way they're easier to pick out and put in the blender. So I was just going to show you really quick so I have everything in, and I already added all my spices. As you can see, the meat is down in there. This particular meat is ground lamb. And so because I just didn't have the time to make the meatballs, I'm just going to be really gentle when I stir it. And worst case scenario, if a few bits and pieces end up in the water, that's okay, because when I make my puree, then I end up with, a little bit of extra protein in my little veggie cube, which is fine because my baby is definitely not a vegetarian. So as you see, we got tomatoes and the carrots. And as far as carrots, I was doing the whole carrots, but then I just decided to just get the little baby peeled carrots because why not? It's all getting blended together anyway. And I added potatoes too, organic potatoes. I don't add potatoes to every single one of my stocks, but sometimes I do. I figure this lamb and potatoes would be good. And so there it is. I'm just going to let it cook for a long time, let it get nice and soft. Now, as far as the flavor, again, I'm not going to be able to taste it, but I did taste the stock, the water, before I added the meat, just to see if, it had good flavor from all the spices that I put in. So there it is. It's just going to cook down, let it cook until all the veggies are really, really, really soft, and then eventually I will puree everything. Sometimes I'll add barley to the actual liquid, and I'll freeze little cubes of liquid with barley in it. So then I have little barley cubes. So there's lots of things you can do, and it's just a matter of experimenting. I literally taught myself and learned all of this as I went. So it's very doable. And as you can see here, this is just one of those things that you can kind of set it and forget it. So I will continue this video once it's done cooking down, and I'll show you how it turns out when I get it all blended and ready to serve to my little baby boy. See you soon. All right, so it is all done cooking. Everything cooked down. The veggies are nice and soft. I pulled the meat out, and I always add a little bit of broth, of course, just to make the puree nice and thin. And then I was going to blend it and show you guys how it turns out. So give me 1 second. So that's really all it takes. And then I end up, like I said, I blend it. I add more liquid just depending on how thin I want it. Some meats, like for instance when I do pork, it's a little bit dry, so I do add a decent amount of liquid. You see, like right now it's still a little bit too thick, so I'll add a little bit more liquid. But basically what I do then is I just take a nice spoonful and just fill up my little cubes, and then I just fill the whole tray, pop them in the freezer, and then pull them out as I need them. So that's basically it. And then I'll take all my veggies, create my veggie cubes the way I was explaining earlier in the video, and we've got meals for a good couple of days. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Don't forget to subscribe to my page, please, and hit like and leave me any comments. Thanks. Hey, one last quick little part of my video that I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you my stash. So, pretty crazy, but this shelf here is all my fruit, and those are all my proteins, but kind of chaotic. We're in the process of getting ourselves a new freezer-fridge combo, but these are all of my cubes. I make egg drop soup sometimes with the leftover broth. We got peas, red pepper. There's some of that broth I told you guys that I save sometimes. This is avocado, okra. So, yep, lots to choose from. I still find myself every mealtime trying to decide, oh, what am I going to give him? I don't know what to give him. I don't have anything. I guess I shouldn't say that, right? Anyway, thanks again for tuning in.